For most of the last century, trading labor for survival was the foundational rule of society. That paycheck bought more than food. It anchored how individuals fit into their communities and understood their place in the world. Now, that arrangement is breaking down. In the manufacturing sector, robotic arms have steadily replaced human hands, clearing the factory floor of traditional blue-collar workers. The displacement has moved well beyond the assembly line. Algorithms and sensor arrays are now absorbing roles that require human judgment, from driving commercial vehicles to managing global supply chains and executing routine cognitive tasks. This technological shift dismantles the primary pillar of adult identity. When a job disappears, the loss of purpose can be as destabilizing as the loss of income. As automation accelerates, it leaves a vacuum of meaning. We are left to question how we define ourselves and how we stay connected to society when the historical routine of work is gone. In 2017, Mark Zuckerberg stood in front of a crowd of graduating students at Harvard University and addressed this exact crisis of meaning. He argued that finding your own individual path is no longer sufficient. The challenge for the modern generation is to actively construct a society where everyone has a guaranteed sense of purpose. To achieve that, he proposed a structural intervention, universal basic income. This is a system where the government guarantees an unconditional monthly payment to every single citizen, regardless of their employment status. This flips the historical social contract upside down. Instead of requiring people to work in order to survive, society guarantees their survival so they have the freedom to work on what actually matters to them. This chart visualizes the scarcity mindset. When individuals panic over basic survival, their capacity for long-term planning drops. By injecting a universal basic income, you create an unbreakable floor underneath that survival threshold. Zuckerberg framed this as democratizing the freedom to fail. It gives anyone the financial cushion to take entrepreneurial risks, a luxury currently reserved mostly for the wealthy. We already have a limited version of this operating today. The Alaska Permanent Fund distributes communal oil wealth directly to its residents every year. It enjoys broad bipartisan support and stimulates the local economy without collapsing it. Advocates argue that removing daily economic desperation frees the population to pursue massive projects. Instead of grinding for a subsistence paycheck, humans can mobilize for monumental collective achievements, like exploring the lunar surface, or they can dedicate their time to immense public health initiatives. Volunteers who organized to immunize the public against polio weren't doing it to pay their rent. They were doing it because the work had deep, intrinsic value. This entire framework relies on a highly optimistic view of human nature. It assumes that people are inherently industrious, and that if you simply cover their basic needs, they will naturally build a better world. But a strong coalition of conservative and theological critics argues that Silicon Valley misunderstands human psychology. This outlines the moral doctrine of work. Economic pressure forces individuals into toil, building character and societal meaning. But if you decouple income from labor, the cycle breaks. Without a required job, idleness sets in, and human dignity is lost. On a macro level, this introduces a severe societal risk. Subsidizing living expenses could consign a massive portion of the population to exist indefinitely on state handouts, permanently dependent on the government. From this perspective, universal basic income is not the engine for a modern renaissance. It is a dangerous enabler of social decay, robbing people of the crucible required to forge a productive life. The proposal of universal basic income is a referendum on human nature. We have to decide if we believe that humans are naturally driven to create and contribute, or if we require the threat of poverty to get out of bed and be productive. Regardless of which philosophy proves correct, the economic data is moving in one direction. As automated systems assume roles historically held by humans, the foundational link between labor and survival is fracturing. We are moving toward a future where human survival will be decoupled from market-based labor because there may not be enough traditional jobs left. Distributing the wealth generated by artificial intelligence is going to be difficult. But the far greater challenge of the automated age will be figuring out who we are and what our purpose is when our jobs no longer define us.